At the same time, Jonathan, it seems as if there is video evidence or not, that also helps play into how the public perceives that particular person and or that crime, regardless of if it's the same or worse than some of the other acts that we've seen depicted actually on video. Say, for example, Ray Rice or maybe even Joe Mixon, the Oklahoma running back, and we can get to him in just a bit. But how might that have played differently for Tyreek Hill if there's actually video proof of this?
Yeah, that's a great point. And one general manager for an AFC team told Sports Illustrated that if there were video, that there's no way he would have been drafted. That video is transformative. If we go back to 2014 and to the Ray Rice issue, what Ray Rice, as terrible as what he did, of course, he told the NFL and the Ravens almost exactly what was on the video. And that he ended up, I believe it was a 2-game suspension. And then TMZ obviously releases the video, and he's cut the next day. And so you can say exactly what's on the video, and you get a 2-game suspension. But when people see that video, it is transformative. You talk about the Joe Mixon thing, and obviously he was redshirted for a season. People want to say he was suspended. A red shirt is not necessarily a suspension to me. But, and look, I don't want to get into degrees of assault or degrees of abuse, but let us consider that Mixon, caught on video, hit a stranger to him. As terrible as assault on a woman is, he hit who is basically a stranger. As I mentioned earlier, what Tyreek did was a betrayal of a most intimate trust with a woman who was pregnant with your child. And not only did you hit her, but you hit her in the stomach where you have made life together. And so if there were video of that, everything that we're hearing about Joe Mixon, everything that we saw a couple years ago with Ray Rice, it would be crazy for me to think that he would have been drafted.
Jonathan, what do you think about the message it sends that guys like Hill and others who have been convicted of domestic violence are still able to play in the NFL?
Well, you know, I mentioned this in the piece. You know, this is, if you are in the top 1% in your job, across the board, and this isn't just an American thing. I don't think this is just a Western thing. I think this is a universal truth. If you are among the elite at what you do, you get more rope, right? You get more slack. We see it in business. We see it in sports. We see it in religion. We see it across the board, that if you are the best at what you do, you're allowed a little bit more. And so what does it say that we allow domestic abusers? Well, you know, look, if he was a serial abuser, I think that we would certainly not want him in the NFL. A lot of people don't want him in the NFL as a first-time abuser, but we also have to understand that, you know, this was essentially a kid that he made a terrible mistake. This isn't like stealing a pack of gum out of the store, of course, and so you don't want to equate it to that. But, you know, how we evaluate second chances. And it's something that the Chiefs gave him a second chance. That doesn't mean that you, the NFL fan, have to give him a second chance. That doesn't mean that, because the NFL team that I love drafted him, they must have done their homework because they know best. Look, how often do we hear that from NFL teams? Look, guys, we did our homework. That doesn't mean anything to me. As great as the Chiefs may be in the community, that doesn't mean anything. And so that they are allowed to play in the NFL. Again, CEOs of corporate Fortune 500 companies and top executives are allowed to sometimes break the rules and then come back to what they do because they are great, because they are elite at their jobs. And in sports, unfortunately, there is really no difference.